what is up on this. People walk in that gate and nobody knows what they're looking at. So the kids are coming in, they're scratching the stones, they're jumping in here, they're pulling stones, they're throwing them all over the place. Nobody knows what it means because nobody ever tells them. You don't teach this to kids in school. The only kids that get taught what this structure means is, and I'm not big noting or boasting about myself. I'm saying if kids come up here and listen to me, they understand what their culture is about. Nobody else will tell them. The OPW are here 3 months, 4 months of the year telling everybody this was built by a witch that dropped a whole load of stones over her apron when she was flying overhead. And she was going from this hilltop to the other hilltop. She fell and she collapsed on the ground and she died. Like, that's Darby O'Kill and the little people. You know what I mean? That's Fairy Stories of Ireland Part 2. It's not fact. It's not even fiction. It's a load of nonsense. You know what I mean? So we have to try and understand the culture that we have here. This structure here was locked up in October 2018 because they poured concrete in the roof in the 1890s. And rather than go to the trouble of undoing the trouble or the bad work that they did in the 1890s, they locked the door up and walked away. That structure is in imminent danger of collapse unless somebody does something to it. And the same with this one, there was photographs on the internet of only all these stones being scratched only a couple of days ago. People make a big deal out of it. You get a lump of grass and you do that, and they're gone. Because they're not actually scratches like the carvings that are in it. They're just a scuff mark like what you get on your shoe. If you rub over a lump of grass, it's gone. But the reason for highlighting this is the fact that there's nothing being done to protect these structures. Absolutely nothing. This stone here suffers from a process called freeze time, where the water gets between the layers of stone, and the front layer of stone shears off when it freezes. The water expands and forces the front layer on. So all the carvings that were originally in this passage 5,500 years ago are basically being washed away, for want of a better. And the reason is, in the 1820s, the British government brought out a law called the Land Enclosure Act, which required all the farmers in the fields down below to enclose their fields in a permanent boundary. We are coming up to the Great Hunger, the potato famine, no potato ever died before, I know that for a fact. But a lot of people refer to it as the potato famine. There was more than enough food produced in this country to feed everybody in a 10 times over. It was like the thunder earth. It wasn't a famine, it was something else entirely. But what the farmers were forced to do were to take all the stones from all these structures and bring them down to the bottom of the hill and build that boundary walls. So in the 1840s, all of these structures were being stripped. And a gentleman called Eugene Cromwell, who was a headmaster in a school in Dublin, was up here with his wife and he said, why isn't anybody recording this? Why does nobody know what's going on here? And he started the process of excavating and taking all the samples out of these and recording all the beautiful art and reading it in Dublin City. And all of a sudden everybody wanted to pump Loughcrew for about 20 years, and then it disappeared into history again. And we can't allow this simply to disappear because we have a modern calendar that takes a Christian, and apologies, I don't do religion, but it's a Christian calendar that was reinvented in 1682, 1681 by Pope Gregory. It's called the Gregorian calendar. Instead of aligning this with the period of the year that it's aligned with the 1st of May and the 1st of August, the festival of Lunacy. So these structures were designed by our ancestors to feed. They were the first farmers. I'm in my bare feet, an awful lot of people aren't, but if you put your feet on the ground today, the ground all of a sudden is warm. So as the day gets longer and the nights get shorter, the ground maintains more heat. So you will see some of the, if you'd have been up here 6 weeks ago, every field here was practically flooded. Any farmer will tell you they can't even get into their fields. But all of a sudden the land is drying up, the ground is getting warmer, and what that meant to our ancestry was they could plant their wheat and their barley, and they could let their cows out into the pasture. And barley that was planted at Baltinna, harvested at a time of the year we know as Lunacy. Nasa, not Lunasa, Lou Nasa, the festival of Lou. And Lou created the festival in honour of his foster mother called Taltu, who was a harvest goddess. And apologies to all the men in the company here, but 5,000 years ago there were no male gods. Okay, and rightly so, because you're on grandmother earth here, you know. You're on grandmother earth. You cannot survive. Each and every person that's here comes from an egg that was created in their grandmother's womb. Not an awful lot of men will realise this. You are physically attached not only to your mother, but to your grandmother. You don't have that attachment to your father or your grandfather. And apologies if that offends you. It doesn't offend me in any way. But that's the attachment. That is the story of why the word grandmother is applied to her. Because everybody comes from this landscape in one way or another, and everybody goes back into this landscape in one way or another. And the next generation then comes along and exactly the same thing happens. So grandmother and our Mother Earth and this beautiful culture that we have, we call our indigenous grandmother An Cailleach, the veiled one. And that's where you hear people talk about the thinning of the veil. What's the thinning of the veil? Would anybody like to tell me what the thinning of the veil is? Nobody knows. Everybody says, oh yeah, it's the thinning of the veil. What's the thinning of the veil? Our indigenous grandmother An Cailleach was called this because spiritually she put a layer of protection over the land that went on its own and lasted under Bealtaine. So there was a veil of protection on the landscape. Only at Bealtaine and Sound did she lift that veil a little bit to allow the ancestral energy to come in and interact with the human beings. And that is what's so important about this culture that we have. We can trace our ancestry and our ancestral roots back 7,000 years to where our ancestors came from Sardinia, from Anatolia, through Sardinia, through Spain, and up the Vine Valley. And that is something that doesn't normally happen in the Western world, that you can trace your ancestry back so far. So we're coming close to sunset. I don't know if we're going to get sunset or not. I need to take a wee sweetie. Go to the pub. Has anybody got any questions, by the way? Question? One question, somebody?
Where is the Ishnok alignment?
Ishnok is over here. Sorry, Ishnok is over there, sorry. Yeah.
So this time, thousands of years ago, all lives from Loughcrew.
No, the other way around. There is no alignment on Ishnok. The alignment here on Bealtaine, I'm not asking anybody to walk up to the cairn, please don't. But what I am telling you is there's still a fire pit on top of that cairn. If you look on the horizon over here, the furthest point that you're looking at is actually the Brickleaf Mountains in Sligo. So a fire lit up there could be seen from the Brickleaf Mountains in Sligo. If you look this way, you're looking at the Cruiser Mountains. You see the Cruiser Mountains over here? There are cairns there. So the fire that was lit there would have been repeated there and brought up to the northwest of the country. Cullion is over there. The fire lit there would have carried her up to the north central Ireland. Donard is over here, would have brought her up the northeast and over as far as Scotland. It was actually recorded only quite a short space ago that the Gaelic kingdoms in Scotland actually timed their year from fires on Slieve Donard. So if you look back the other way, you're looking at the Wicklow Hills and the Dublin Mountains, and it's recorded. Somebody only less than 2 years ago came to me who were Welsh, and they said to me, according to their structure in Pembroke, they timed, because they were Irish kingdoms, they were the Daoise, they were the people of Wexford and Waterford, they went over and created the kingdom in the west of Wales. Their years were timed from the fires on the Wicklow. And Tara's just over there. There's no alignment with summer solstice or winter solstice, and Tara, when everybody got it, would have been signalled from the fire pit up here. The same in Ishnok, the same in Loughcrew, which is very hard to say even for an Irish person. Loughcrew, the Hill of Ward. There's no alignment there, it's a hill fort. There's no alignment there at all. The fire would have been lit there. So on 8 times of the year, and especially on the four, what I call the four fire festivals, the ones with the Gaelic names, Imbollock, Mabollock, Bailtinna, the Bailtinna, the melt of the fires, Lugh Nassa, or Ain of Talton, the Festival of Lugh, and the Harvest Festival of Ainoch, or of Taltu, the harvest goddess, and Samhain, Sam Quinn, the end of summer. Okay. This structure here also aligns with Lunasa, by the way. So this is Lunasa at Bailtinna. This is Spring and Autumn Equinox. That's Imbolc and Sound. And then the two festivals that are at the total extremes, totally different from one another. Summer solstice is just the other side of the cairn. Winter solstice is down the bottom of the hill. Each and every structure here is highly carved. There are only a few left in this particular structure. This one certainly, the two of these, a couple of these down there. And if you had come up there with a torch at night time, even the light on your phone at night time, and shine them on these stones, down this way you'll see the carvings on the stones. They're still there, 5,500, 6,000 years later. Cairn T here has 28 stones inside, highly carved. It is one of the most incredible structures, and the most important structure probably in Western Europe of its time. And it's just locked up and waiting to collapse rather than. They put €5 million into a concrete bunker in Brunavonia during COVID. They invested €5 million in a concrete building that was only 20 years old, so they could sell more tickets and they could rise the price so more people could win. They make more money out of it. And that's one of the reasons here is that every time you come up the steps at the bottom, and you can look at it if you want, there's a little grey box that counts everybody that comes up the steps and everybody that goes down the steps. It's controlled to, or it's tied to a computer in the OPW's main office in Trim that counts the number of people that come up here every day. And that's why it's important that so many people come up here on the festivals that are aligned in these structures here. And thank you each and every one of you, because every one of you has been a tick there. They know each and every one of you has been here. They don't know your name or what colour you are or what size you are or what sex you are or what religion you are, but they know you are here because they counted you. And that's the way modern life works. And the more people that come up, the more they realise, hang on a minute, there's something going on in Loughcrew. There's an awful lot of people turning up here all of a sudden. Maybe we better start doing something about that structure, because the TD, the local TD, and I thank him very much, I'm not sure if he's here, I don't think so, has brought it up the Dáil 3 times in the last 2 years. What the hell is happening with here today? And nobody is able to give him an answer because nobody knows. It's just sitting there. The offices are only in Trim, it's not that far away. The main office of the OPW is only in Trim. The people that come up here and cut the grass and mend the fences or whatever when they eventually get up there come from it. The people that open the gate come from Trim. But no. Oh, but I can tell you something. There's a group called the Dry Wall Association of Ireland. And they run courses for people where they charge them €120 a day to actually learn how to do dry stone walling. They have told me personally they would have about 700 people here. They would strip the whole front of that cairn in about 12 hours. They would lay each and every stone out in the pattern that they do all the time. And then they just reverse the process, put the whole thing back together.
So it's just no one's allowed.
Nobody cares. It's only by putting things on the ground to do it. You know, if there's an election coming, each one of you goes to your CD at the door or your whatever. going to
Auntie.
have to, they're going to have to be there. They're going to have to take each and every one of those 28 car stones out in a separate process so to put them back in. They're going to have to put a concrete lining on the inside to protect the structure. That structure is 5,500 years old. There was no reason to put concrete in 120 years ago because there's glacial rapids all over the hilltop there. People built the thing exactly the same way it was built 5,500, 6,000 years ago. But they just didn't bother their Barney doing that. It was easier to pour concrete in. So from that point of view, no, you have to take the concrete out first. You have to reverse the process and do what they should have done. What they did with the cardboard roof was the cardboard roof. Has anybody been in Loughcrew? Two people have seen cardboard roofs. It's done where layers of stone are about 6 inches. Yeah, protruding all the way from the inside down. What they did in there was they pulled all the stones up into the centre of the huge concrete temple. So the whole middle of the structure now is collapsing inwards. And then they put a concrete roof that's fallen apart. So from that point of view, they do the structure. What they did, if they had done it to the Notre Dame Cathedral or Patrick Cathedral or Christchurch Cathedral, well, it would have been taken in much more. But the fact that they do it to the structure that's 6,000 years old. Luna, come here.
Raw by name, raw by nature.
What? Yeah, has anybody else got any? Sorry, does that answer your question? Has anybody else got any questions? Because I'll answer any question.
You start a campaign or something.
I'm not very good at starting campaigns.
Maybe somebody.
You're good at talking, that's about it.
Sounds like you just signed up, Phil.
But no, I do plan on doing an online campaign, but I was hoping to have something which I don't have. And they know that, like, they know me too well.
And I thought I was only going to do it for
But I will, sorry?
She's sitting here very when she comes down. She's going to say that. Yeah, she's very friendly. She loves girls and children.
No, they're exactly as they would have been put there. Yeah. So the purpose, there's two purposes of a cairn. One is mechanical protection, it protects everything inside. The other one is thermal insulation. So if that's covered in 6 foot of snow, the cold doesn't actually get into the chamber. But what they did in the 1960s was they put an open vent to the roof. So now there's an open metal gate on the front. So that, I mean, you can feel the wind here even now. The wind howls through that place in the wind. If you come up here when there's a snow shower on, there are literally the icicles hanging on the roof. If you go to Newgrange, they will tell you the temperature varies from 5 degrees on winter solstice to 8 degrees on summer solstice. Because all of the material on the outside insulates. It's like the way it's 40%. Any more questions? Okay, that's €20 a head, please. By the way, I do a walk up here at 12 o'clock every Saturday. If you want to, I go through the whole, it takes about 2 hours. And the reason I do it is the reason I'm here now is to try and, get something. I'm nearly 72 years of age and I'm going to be here forever. And if they don't do something with this structure soon, it's gone because nobody else is going to money. SHIT to worry about it. Nobody else is going to stand here and do what I do.
Do you know exactly what has to be done?
Sorry?
Do you know exactly what has to be done in this structure to keep it?
I know what should be done, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Alright.
I worked in the building trade when I was an immigrant. I understand building technology. I understand what's wrong with the structure. I understand what they did wrong. And what they did wrong was laziness. It was people with university degrees reckoning that they know more about building than Stone Age farmers did. And if you go to any farm and you give a farmer a problem to solve, he'll solve the problem on his own because he is endowed with common sense, which they take out of you when they bring you into college and they give you a university degree. You are qualified to do a certain thing and nothing else. A farmer is qualified to do whatever the hell he wants in order to survive. And that's the difference between wisdom and education. Education is a very narrow focus. And a doctor, you can give a doctor a patient, a brain surgeon, give a doctor a brain surgeon a brain to operate on, and he'll do it. But if his car won't start in the morning, he's going to call a mechanic. You know what I mean? So his focus, his educational focus is very narrow. Whereas people who are endowed with wisdom, they have the wisdom of understanding a hell of a lot more, but in a less focused way. It's in a generic way. It's in a university accepted way. It's common sense versus training or education. When you put 3 and 4-year-old children into a school and you start indoctrinating them when they're 3 years of age, they follow a process until they come out of a university when they're 24 years of age, and they're still indoctrinated. Whereas if you go to cultures, in indigenous cultures anywhere around the world where the kids don't go to school, or they're at home taught, or they're taught by their clan or by their nation or whatever, those kids can do anything, but they don't have a sheet of paper to tell them I'm allowed to do this. You know, they can actually work as medicine men, they can work as growers, they know their fruit, they can pick a mushroom out of the field that's either going to get the high or it's going to feed you. And they understand all these things that you don't learn in school. And that's the difference between the people who are actually tasked with repairing this structure that they messed up 120 years ago. You made a mess, you fixed it up. Oh, we didn't actually learn how to fix something that we make a mess of. We only learned how to make a mess of it, you know. So they're incapable of actually fixing it. But if you put 5 farmers in there tomorrow, they'll have it fixed in 2 weeks' time, because they understand the concept of, oh, I better do something and do it quick. And you know, my cow's stuck in a river. How do I get it out? You know, I can't swim. How do I get my cow out of the river? Because if it drowns, my cows are going to die. They get their tractor, they tie a rope, they lasso the cow, they tow the cow out of the field. The cow mightn't like it.
Yeah, against health and safety.
The farmer will survive. The tractor will survive.
Would you call that a bovine harvester, Lord?
Bovine harvester, exactly, yeah. But you know what I mean, it's common sense versus education. If you put a mechanical engineer in